We bought one of the first 2025 Toyota Camrys so that we could truly live with it.
And one of the biggest parts of living with a vehicle is how much it costs to own. And after 1 year of owning this Camry, exactly how much is that? You might be surprised to find out. Let's go ahead and dive in.
Now, of course, one of the biggest expenses of keeping a vehicle in general is maintenance, so that's where we're going to begin. Now, a lot of brands, they do not cover the maintenance, but fortunately, Toyota is one of the brands that does cover the maintenance. They have something called Toyota Care, and that is good for 2 years or 25,000 miles, and it covers all the maintenance that falls within that parameter. Now, in terms of this vehicle, we've had this, like Mason said, about a year. We're at about 9,000 miles. So we've conducted one maintenance visit so far, and we have our second one coming up very shortly at the 10,000 mile mark. At the 10,000 mile mark, that's where Toyota recommends having the oil changed for the first time. They're also, of course, rotating the tires, inspecting the fluid, and they will, change the oil filter, cabin air filter, and things like that as needed.
Now, the second really big expense when it comes to owning a vehicle is insurance, of course. Now, when it comes to our Camry's insurance, we were actually a little bit surprised at how expensive it was. It's actually more expensive than our 2023 BMW 3 Series at $1,840 for the year. Now, of course, this is going to vary depending on a variety of factors. Your age, your driving record, where you live, all of those things will, of course, matter when it comes to your personal insurance expense. And we do have a video detailing why the insurance might be as expensive as it is on this Camry, and you can find that on our channel now.
Now, the next major expense is property taxes. So here in Kentucky, it's pretty straightforward. We have a 1% property tax, and they assess this vehicle at a general value of $35,000, so that translates to a $350 annual tax. Now, one of the interesting things to consider is that certain states have additional taxes if you have a hybrid vehicle. Kentucky was one of those states. Now, I said was because they only had it for a couple years. Thankfully, they have repealed it, but previously we did have an additional tax to help kind of pay for the road system if you drove a hybrid vehicle or an electric vehicle.
If you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We started young, and since then, we've reviewed over 2,000 cars at every price point.
No matter what you're looking for, from our long-term vehicle videos to our side-by-side comparisons, we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family.
Let's learn a lot and have some fun with all the latest cars.
Now, of course, we have to talk about depreciation. That is single-handedly the largest expense when it comes to owning a new vehicle. Now, the original price of our Toyota Camry, we have the XSC trim level, was $38,039. Now, we're going to use carconfections.com/resale value because we dive deep into that on our website to help us make this estimation as to how much it has depreciated. While we don't specifically look at the 1 year and 10,000 mile metric, we can use that as an estimation tool, like I just said. Now, thankfully, Toyota has one of the very best resale value percentages in the entire auto industry, on average retaining 64.5% of original MSRP after 5 years and 60,000 miles. That means that this car, after 5 years, will probably be worth around $24,500. But what about a 1-year-old example? Well, in order to figure that out, we can look at some used examples of a 2024 model with 10,000 miles on it, for instance. In that case, you're looking at a trade-in value of $31,000 to $33,000, which means that after we factor in the taxes that we paid on this vehicle when we first bought it, plus the original MSRP, you're looking at around $8,500 as a depreciation expense estimate.
And the last major expense to consider here is our fuel expense. Now, obviously, this is a hybrid vehicle, as we mentioned earlier, which does mean that it gets pretty good fuel economy. At our about 9,000 miles that we put on this vehicle, we're sitting at about 43 miles per gallon combined. So that is quite impressive. And that also means we can do a little bit of math to figure some things out. So if you look at the average fuel expense in Kentucky in 2024, that was sitting at $3.30 per gallon. So if we start to multiply that, you can see how that shakes out. you'll be looking at $690 thereabout for an entire year's worth of fuel.
And that brings us to our total, which is going to be what? Drum roll, please, for this 2025 Camry. $11,801.77. Now, how did we come to that figure? Well, all those categories that we mentioned, maintenance was $0, thankfully, because the Toyota Care taking care of absolutely all of that. You don't even have to pay for an oil change. Insurance is $1,840. Property taxes, $350. The estimated depreciation is by far the most expensive category, and it's worth noting that that happens regardless of what car you select. Selecting a Toyota is pretty much the best case scenario when it comes to depreciation. Other cars would be even more expensive than that, and we're estimating that to be about $8,900 if we were to trade it in right now. Now, as far as fuel expense, Drew mentioned that, but it's around $690, which does bring us to that grand total just under $12,000. So, ouch. Owning a new vehicle is certainly very expensive, but keep in mind this is a very affordable new vehicle in the grand scheme of things when it comes to that overall ownership experience in the first year. So was it still a good decision, and would we buy this Camry again, Drew?
Yes, so like Mason kind of was already touching on, owning a new vehicle in general is just a very expensive proposition, especially when you're talking about the first year. These are not always linear things, especially when you're talking about the depreciation. You take the biggest hit that first year.
Yeah, that's for sure. Now, as far as other Camry content, I know a lot of you guys watching this video are probably very curious about this Camry. And if you are, we highly encourage you to hit that subscribe button down below, because by subscribing, you're going to get all types of Camry content, not just the cost to own. After exactly a year, we've done a ton of videos already on the Camry, and we will continue to make videos as we continue to own this vehicle. It's our long-term vehicle tester right now. Now, if you're looking to buy a Camry or any new vehicle, we'd also encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. The reason you do that is because we have a tool on our website that'll connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealership negotiation. All of that can be found in our video description, and we also have a pinned comment at the top of this video. And guys, that wraps up exactly how much it costs to own our 2025 Camry in the first year of ownership. We really appreciate you tuning in, and if you're already a fan and subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support. If you're not already, subscribe down below. We'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.